What's going on, everybody? It is not this day. It is this day, the 25th. It is the 25th day on the 7th month of our Father's calendar, and it is October 3rd on the Babylonian calendar. And this is going to be a weird one. This is going to be some weird stuff here today, because I would like to show you guys some cannibals. Now, cannibals are crazy people, right? You end up in the stew pot. You're thinking to yourself, how did I get here? And to these folks, right? These people are just doing what they do, right? They do and they eat. To them, this is all edible stuff, right? Another human is completely edible. And you can eat them, and you can eat a lot of other stuff too, right? You can pretty much eat anything, and there's a reason you can eat everything, and it's simply because all food has been made clean. Now, what in the world am I saying here? Has all food been made clean? If this is so, then homeboy in the cooking pot is okay to eat, right? So grandpa passes away, and grandpa's dead. There's no murder to it, right? So let's not get rid of the corpse. Let's go ahead and stick it in a stew pot, and let's eat, right? Because in the world of Christianity, we are taught and we have learned that all foods are clean. Sure, maybe all foods don't fit for everybody, but let's stop calling what Christ made good unclean. And here's a little declaration. What is this? Jesus made all food clean. We are led by the Spirit of God, and He guides us in all things. Christ declared all foods are clean for us to eat, stating that it is not food that defiles a man, but it's the things that come from his heart that are more important. And so if we've taken this literature right here, and we've created an entire doctrine on it. All right, so where did this doctrine come from? Why has all food been made clean? Well, for this, let's look on the right-hand side over here, and what it says is, for it doesn't go into their heart, but into their stomachs and then out their body. In saying this, Jesus declared all foods clean. Wow, that's crazy, right? Because if that was true, then the fella sitting in here, or grandpa sitting in here when grandpa passed away, right? There's no murder done. It means that all food has been made clean. So, where does this come from? Let's read this in context, and let's try to figure this out. Because when you take verses out of context and you have no idea what they mean, then you can become very confused with this. And when you say all food is made clean, if that is true, then eating grandpa is okay. So is it true or is it not? Let's read verse 1, Mark 7:1. Then came together unto him the Parishim and certain of the scribes which came from Jerusalem, right? And what are the Parishim? They're the Pharisees, right? They're the group of people that the Christian people said the law doesn't apply to anymore, right? These are the enemy of the Christians, right? The Pharisees and the Sadducees. Now, why are they the enemies of them? Because our Messiah was constantly battling these guys out, and the Christians believed that the Pharisees actually kept the laws of God. Now, the Pharisees didn't keep the laws of God, and they kept what they call the Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud. And it is a whole bunch of oral Torah stuff that came after the days of Moses, and it was something added to and taken away. It's things of this nature that you would find something that would say you must wash your hands when you eat. If you don't wash your hands, you're violating God's laws. Now, when you look in the laws of God, that doesn't exist in the laws of God, right? None of that does, right? There's nothing about washing your hands. It's probably a really good idea. You might get sick. You might have bacteria. You might have stuff on it. But there's no laws that say you must wash your hands. Mark 7:2. And when they saw that some of his Talmudian eat bread with defiled, that is to say with unwashed hands, they found fault. So they went to their oral Torah and they went, oh, look at this. These guys are not keeping the laws of God. Now, this is very confusing because our Messiah came to fulfill the laws of God. That does not mean he's come to do away with the laws of God. He came to walk, the laws of God perfectly. So how does this go down when they are accusing his Talmudian, his people, right? The disciples, they were accusing them right there in verse 2, with unwashed hands they found fault. For the Parashim and all the Yahudim, except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the traditions of elders, friends. The traditions of elders. What are we told not to do in the Bible? We are told not to keep the traditions of men. Christmas, Passover, we should keep Christmas, Easter, all of those things. Those are all pagan. Those are all traditions of men. Verse 4, and when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be, which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brazen vessels, and of tables, right? None of this, of what they're saying in here, is in the Torah. None of it. You don't have to do any of this stuff. But because they kept the traditions of men and they've written down their own laws and they do their own stuff, they believe that's laws. And so these Pharisees and Sadducees were not law keepers. My friends, you must understand this. When these people came to accuse our Messiah, they were not keeping the laws of God. Verse 5, then the Parashim and scribes ask him. So they set this whole thing up. They see these guys aren't washing with their hands. They didn't wash their plates how they do according to their ceremonies and traditions. Then the Parashim and scribes ask him. Verse 5, why not your Talmudian, according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? And so our Messiah says, well, he answered and said unto them, well, has Yayyyy, and this is Jeremiah, Esaias, excuse me. This is Yayyyy. This is Yayyyy, Esaias. Well, has Yayyyy prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. What does that mean? It means that these people are all about washing their hands and washing their dishes and washing everything else. And they appear to be with our Creator, but they're not. And this is a smiting from the Son of the Most High, right? He smites these people. And he's like, why walk you not your Talmudian according to the tradition of elders? He said unto them, well, has Yayyyy prophesied to you hypocrites? This people worships me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for the doctrines, the commandments of men. Verse 8, for laying aside the commandment of Elohim, ye hold the tradition of men as the washing, right? Guys, this is what he's saying. As the washing of pots and cups and many other such like things ye do. And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandments of Elohim, that ye guard your own tradition. Guys, these guys walked into a booby trap. They walked into this booby trap and they came, and the worst person to ever argue law with is our Messiah, because he knew it so well. And he said unto them, right? Why aren't you guarding the laws of God, but yet you are guarding hard the traditions of men? They were all sitting there judging these men for having unwashed hands. Guys, this is what this entire conversation is about. It has absolutely nothing to do with our Messiah saying food is clean. Verse 10, excuse me. For Moshe said, honor your father and mother, and whoso curses father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, if a man shall say to his father or mother, it is korban. And korban is something brought near the altar, a sacrificial present, oblation that is offered then. So if it is korban, that is to say, a gift by whatsoever you might be profited by me, he shall be free. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father and mother, making the word of Elohim of no effect. Verse 13, through your tradition which ye have delivered, and many such like things ye do ye. He just beat the snot out of these people with a verbal assault. This was a verbal 45 assault, and he nailed them, because he's saying, why are you doing all of this stuff outside of the Torah? Them even coming to these people about washed hands is blasphemy, because it is not in the Torah. Our Creator never set up laws that you have to wash your hands or wash your dishes or keep anything of that nature like that, right? There's no laws such that. Verse 14, and when he had called all people unto him, he said unto them, hearken unto me, every one of you, and understand. Now, my friends, this is to you. This is to all of us. Listen to this, guys. Verse 15, there is nothing from without a man, that entering into him can defile him. But the things which come out of him, those are they that defile a man. If any man has ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his Talmudian asked him concerning the parable. And he said unto them, are ye so without understanding also? Literally, this is our Messiah just said, are you stupid? Do you not understand this? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without enters into a man, it cannot defile him? Guys, this is not saying that a human corpse isn't going to defile us, right? It isn't saying anything like that. What he is saying here in verse 18. Do you not perceive that whatsoever thing from without enters into the man, it cannot defile him? Because, why, guys? Why? Verse 19, because it enters not into his heart, but into the belly and goes out into the draught, purging all food. Guys, and then he said, that which comes out of a man, that defiles him. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornication, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All of these things come from within and defile a man. Guys, every one of these things are against the Torah, right? Wickedness, deceit, evil eye, blasphemy, fornication. This is all, he's repeating the Torah. Right? And he's not saying that all food has been made clean. He did not say this at all. That is a translator's dream, and that is Hasatan's dream, that he will put it in quotes so that everybody will come back to something like this, and they believe that Jesus made all food clean. This is not correct, right? This is evil. What they said right here, Jesus made all food clean, this is what the Christians of today think. And so when I'm telling them that the food that they are eating, the pork and the lobster and the shrimp, that is unclean food from our Father. He says don't eat that. Those are the bottom dwellers. Those are the scum-sucking bottom dwellers that eat the dead, that eat the flesh, that eat the debris, that eat the stuff that we shouldn't be eating. So when you eat a shrimp, and you could toss a pile of shrimp into polluted water, and inside of a couple weeks, they have made this water clean, right? And then you eat a pus pocket of hormones that basically contains it, where our Creator says don't do it. When these people say that all food has been made clean, you're trying to say that scientifically that the swine no longer makes us sick, but what we have is science that says it does make us sick. And hundreds of thousands of people a year get sick from swine because you can't cook all of the bacteria out of it. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but what's left in there can hurt a human. Whereas all of these parasites and all of these things can live inside of a swine without any kind of real problems, right? They can live in them because those are the garbage disposals of what we have. So if all food has been made clean, my friends, and there's no definition and you want to call it that, then we're okay to eat grandpa. But you're going to say, well, the Holy Spirit, right? Right here it says the Holy Spirit. We are led by the Spirit of God and he guides us in all things. He will not guide you in anything unless you have read his laws, statutes, and commands. He's not going to sit here and spoon feed this to you. None of us are so good that we deserve being spoon fed from our Creator. He gave us a book. He sanctified it. He left it for all generations. He has given it to us today. You are listening to it right now. And he says what he means. And he means what he says. It never changes. Our Creator never changes from eternity, from time to time to time. He didn't say all food was dirty and had thousands of years of people living on that. And then all of a sudden his son came and was some kind of rebel. And he cleaned the food and said it's all clean so you can have your sinful lust of pork, right? The salty pork that everybody loves, right? That's abominable. That is an abominable food from our Creator. That is not food, right? It's food for other stuff. And you have to define what food is, guys. So I know everybody will argue this. The Christians have a demon of eating pork. I'm telling you, and I don't mean to throw people under the bus, but when you talk to Christians about eating pork and they love their pork, they will go off on you completely. They will tell you how the food, they just bless the food before they eat it. It's all good and you can do whatever you want. And my friends, that is the same thing Satan said. That is the same thing he has said all along. Do what you want, do as you will, be a rebel, live your own life, your best life now. Guys, that is all from Satan. We are called to be obedient to our Creator. We are called to live a certain lifestyle, right? We are called to be set apart. Do you guys understand what that means, being set apart? That means we don't look like the world, smell like the world, taste like the world, or anything of the world. If your neighbors see you, you should be wearing seats, right? Everyone in your family should be wearing seats from Numbers, right? Everybody should have seats on because you are a child of the Most High, and that's a simple commandment that He says. Wear seats on the four corners of your hymns. And that's the same thing our Messiah had, where the woman touched it who was bleeding all the time. She barely touched the tassels, right? The tassels are seats. Guys, so there's a big world of keeping these commandments. It is a beautiful lifestyle. It is a blessed lifestyle. It is a lifestyle of less guilt than having to set it and forget it and plead the blood day after day after day as you're living in sin. My friends, much love to you. I'm out.